Our lesson for today will be looking at chemistry 1502. The topic for today is stereochemistry. The subtopic is chirality. Lesson 101, let us start. Objects can have different types of properties, especially when dealing with chirality. I will start by explaining chiral using chemistry terms. So I'll just explain it using the chemistry terms, and then I'll try to explain it using general example so that you understand the concept very well. So when we talk about an object which is chiral, we are talking about objects which are non-superimposable, meaning that they are non-identical, they are not identical mirror images of each other. So let's say we have a mirror. We can put a mirror here and put a particular object here. Then if its mirror image is not the same as the actual object, then we say that particular object, it is chiral. Let us look at general examples. Suppose we have our mirror here, and then we put a hand here. You can clearly see that looking at the stump, we can say this is a right hand. We put it in front of the mirror. Now looking at the mirror image of this hand, we are going to see something like this. Now the question is, are the two identical? Is this hand the same as this one? Also look at the manner, the orientation of the hand. And we also have to put account that this is the inner part of the hand. So you should understand that if this is the inner part of the hand, just use these lines to represent the inner part of the hand. So you can clearly see that the two, they are not the same. Looking at the thumbs, they are not on the same side. And even if we can rotate this hand, it will not and will never be the same as this one, because if we rotate, leaving the mirror image the same, the way it is, we are going to have something like this, but it will be the outer part of the hand here. So you can see that the two, they are non-identical, they're not identical. So we say this is chiral. Now what if we put an object in front of a mirror and then we find that it is identical? Suppose we put a chair here. We know very well that the mirror image would be like this. Then even if we rotate this, we are going to have something like this, which is identical to this. So in this case, this is not chiral, it is achiral, which simply means that it is not chiral. It's the opposite of chiral. If we take a teaspoon, let's say for example, we put it here, you can clearly see that the mirror image will definitely be the same. So there's no chirality here. This is achiral. Let's say we put a soccer ball. We know very well that what we see on the mirror will be the same as the actual object. So this is the difference between chiral and achiral. Another way we can quickly identify the chiral molecule is to look at the carbon that is bonded to 4 different types of groups. Let's say for example, we have this compound. Look at this carbon here. You can check the groups that is bonded to this carbon. We have Br, which is the first group. We have hydroxy or OH, which is our second group, which is different from Br, and then we have H, and we have methyl. So we can say this particular molecule, it is chiral because of the 4 different groups that we have. Another example will be this one. This is another way to quickly identify which one it is chiral. Now looking at this carbon, we can see that it is bonded to OH, it is bonded to methyl, it is bonded to hydrogen, and it is also bonded to this part, which is different from the first 3 parts that I've mentioned. So therefore this is a chiral molecule. And by the way, this carbon, this particular carbon, this one, we say it is a chiral center. And this is a way we actually indicate a chiral center by putting a star to the carbon that is a chiral center for this particular molecule. And one would ask, what about this carbon? Look at this carbon. The only problem that we have 2 identical groups here. Then it doesn't make it a chiral center, because remember that we need 4 different types of groups in order for a particular carbon to be a chiral center. Now look at this particular molecule. Is it chiral? Does it have a chiral center? Remember that the easiest way is simply identify 4 different groups. But in this case, you can see that we have 3 identical groups, and then which is different from this one. So it has 2 different groups, and then in this case, this is not a chiral, doesn't have a chiral center. So we say it is a chiral. Without involving the mirror image or trying to check the mirror image, the question would be, is this particular compound chiral? Does it have a chiral center? So simply check, do we have a chiral center in this case? Look at the groups. We have a methyl, we have hydrogen, we have bromine, and then we have ethyl group. So this has a chiral center, therefore it is chiral. Our next example, I will also include a new term which you might not be familiar with, but if you were checking the organic chemistry sources and talking about other sources, you might have come across these terms, which is trans and cis. So in this case, let's say we have this particular compound. We have hydrogen, and bromine and bromine. The question is this a chiral molecule? If we can put a mirror here, then looking at the mirror image of this, we are going to have more or less the same, actually the same identical molecule. So this is definitely not a chiral molecule, it is chiral. As you can see, the images are the same. And then the name for this, look at these groups, Br and hydrogen here. Since these groups are on the same side, we say this is cis. This simply means that same side. And then we assume, or we take that this will be our first carbon. So we have 1. Then on the second carbon also we have bromine, so it's 1.2 or it's 1,2. Then we put dash, di, bromo, cyclo. There is a lesson video whereby we look at the IUPAC name of the ring molecules. Then how many carbons do we have? We can quickly count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's cyclopentane. So this size simply means that we are in the same group, or looking at the hydrogen. Let us look at a similar molecule. We have hydrogen and Br. Then here we have Br and hydrogen. The question is this a chiral molecule or not? We put a mirror here. You know very well that we're going to have something like this. If you can check, this side, this part will actually be this part here. So we have Br, we have hydrogen here, then the last part will be here, which is hydrogen and Br. So you can see that we have different molecules. The first part, or the first carbon, which is this one, the hydrogen is on top, then the bromine is at the bottom, whilst the second molecule, you can see that the first part, the first carbon, the Br is at the top, and then the hydrogen is at the bottom. So in this case, these two are different. The mirror image of this particular molecule is different from the original one. And then since you can see that these groups are not on the same side, the one is at the bottom, the other one is at the top, so we say this is trans. We write the name, we say this is trans. 1.2, we still take that this is the first carbon, this is the second carbon. Dibromo, cyclopentane. Then we can conclude that this is chiral. So that's it for this lesson video. The next lesson video we are going to relate chirality and enantiomers. So just make sure you watch the next lesson video. That's it for this lesson video. This is Wabula SJ. Thank you very much.